Howdy, y'all, and welcome. Hope everybody's doing well out there so far. I hope everybody had a great Independence Day as well. Hope nobody blew their fingers up. I know there was some reports of somebody setting a firework off on top of their head, which is very stupid, but let's go ahead and get right on today's forecast. As you can see, we had what was a Cat 5 hurricane, which was Baryl, was a Cat 5 last week, and of course weakened down into a Cat 1 before it made landfall down here in southeastern Texas with max winds of 69 mile an hour and a low pressure of 986 millibars. It's currently a tropical depression just southeast of Dallas with max winds of 35 mile an hour and a low pressure of 997 millibars. It's expected to make its way towards the Ohio Valley tonight as a enhanced risk and a slight risk has been issued over here from Kentucky up into Ohio with a marginal risk surrounding that was extends from Arkansas up into Ohio and from Delaware on over into Maine. Now, the main hazard within the slight and enhanced risk zone is going to be mainly a big old tornado threat, as a 10% and a 5% chance has been issued with a low end threat surrounding that. Now, keep in mind, significant tornadoes can happen on low end days, so make sure you have a way to get alerted and you know where to go when that tornado warning gets issued for your location, preferably storm shelter, basement, closet, interior room away from windows. Your house is not sure enough to withstand a tornado, make sure you find somewhere that is safe enough. Now, other than tornadoes, we have a low end threat for damaging winds within both the enhanced slight and marginal risk zones, as well as a large hail threat, which is just going to be in effect up here from Delaware up into Maine. As we push off into hump day, tropical depression Baryl is going to be barreling its way towards the northeast, as a slight risk is in effect for Pennsylvania and New York, with a marginal risk which goes into effect from northeastern Ohio up into Massachusetts, and this also includes New Mexico and Texas. This is not related to Baryl, but still, you got a risk over here tomorrow from New Mexico and over into Texas. As far as tornado threat goes, there's a pretty significant threat for that within the slight risk zone, 5% chance, and of course a low end threat surrounding that. We also have a damaging wind threat to deal with tomorrow as well, 15% chance within the slight risk zone and a 5% chance within both marginal risk zones. And of course, we got no large hail to deal with, so that's some good news. And as we move off into Thursday, Baryl is going to be moving its way out of the country, and we're not going to be dealing with any severe weather for actually quite some time. If you take a look at the 4 to 8 day outlook, we don't got any sort of severe weather to deal with, which is some good news. Now, other than severe weather, we have some significant flooding to deal with, as a slight risk has been issued for the next couple days, as well as here on Thursday up in the northeast. So it's looking like Baryl's going to be a big old flooding event, as well as a pretty big old tornado producer as well. As we take a look at how much precipitation Baryl's going to be bringing us, we're going to take this out all the way into the 12th. We can see that within the slight risk for flooding zones, I would expect right around 2 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts possible. So definitely be aware of flooded roadways. Turn around and do not drown. If you live in a low-lying area, please be aware of this. And this is going to be good for those drought conditions as well. I know we've been dealing with some dry conditions out east, so this is some good news. So now let's go ahead and get into the timing of when y'all could expect the worst for the severe weather. And to take a look at this, we're going to take a look at the HRRR model. Keep in mind that that date and time is up here if you ever want to keep track. And keep in mind that tornadoes is going to be the main threat within the enhanced and slight risk zones. And damaging winds is going to be a low end threat as well. As we push this forward, we can see Baryl's going to be barreling its way towards the Ohio Valley, as it's looking like the worst of severe weather is going to be occurring through the late evening into the overnight hours. As you can see, there's going to be some supercells forming by right around 10 o'clock within the enhanced risk zone. Keep in mind that the main threat is going to be tornadoes. As we pull up the tornadic parameters by right around this time, we can see that there is going to be a pretty significant threat for tornadoes as a 0.2, 0.5. Some areas getting in on a 1.5 out of 10. In some areas by right around 9, 10 o'clock. So definitely make sure that you have a way to get alerted if you live within the 10% and 5% chance for tornado zones, and even the 2%. Keep in mind that significant tornadoes can't happen on low end days, like I said earlier. Basically, it's looking like a late evening into overnight event is going to be possible, as Baryl is going to be rolling through the Ohio Valley tonight before it turns mainly into a big old flash flooding event by right around midnight. So again, it's looking like Baryl's going to be barreling its way towards the Ohio Valley by right around 6, 7 o'clock and be a big old tornado producer by right around 7 o'clock through right around 10, 11 o'clock before it turns mainly to a big old flash flooding threat by right around midnight. And we also got to take a look at the wind gusts, as Baryl is going to be bringing some gusty winds within both the Ohio Valley and parts of the Northeast as well. Which is back to right around 10 o'clock. We could be dealing with upwards of 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Some areas getting in on higher wind gusts, which could actually knock out the power, so make sure you're aware of this and make sure you put up anything you don't want blowing around as well, as it looks like 20 to 30-mile-an-hour wind gusts are going to be possible. As we move off into hump day, Baryl's going to be starting to move its way into the northeast, and to take a look at this, we're going to have to look at the NAM 3-kilometer model. Keep in mind that tornadoes and high winds is going to be the main threat over here. As we push us off into hump day, we already know that Tuesday's timing is pretty much going to be late evening into overnight event with some significant tornadoes occurring in the overnight hours. If we push off into hump day, we can see that we're not going to be dealing with severe weather until the late evening and overnight hours, just like here on Tuesday. As you can see, we're going to be dealing with a little bit of a squall line by right around 6, 7 o'clock. And it's going to turn mainly into a big multicellular event by right around 8 o'clock, before it turns mainly into a big old flash flooding event during the early morning hours of Thursday. Now, as we take a look at the significant tornadic parameters, we can see that within the 5% chance for tornado zones, right around 7 o'clock tomorrow, it's expected to be right around a 1.7 out of 10, as some multicellular storms are going to start to roll through the late evening into overnight hours tomorrow, so make sure you have a way to get alerted. As you can see, we're going to have some multicellular storms right around 7 o'clock through right around 11 o'clock before mainly turning into a flash flooding event, so make sure, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but make sure you have a way to get alerted. It's looking like a nocturnal tornadic event is going to be possible for tomorrow as well as here on Tuesday. Now, I cannot show you all the wind gusts here on the NAM 3-kilometer model, unfortunately, but it's looking like could be dealing with pretty strong winds regardless tomorrow, so make sure you put up anything you don't want blowing around tomorrow, and be aware that power outages are going to be likely. So now that we know the timing and what kind of severe weather threats Baryl's going to be bringing y'all, we're going to take a look at whether or not there's going to be any sort of hurricanes or tropical storms forming out there in the Atlantic or in the Pacific. As we can see, there is really nothing going on out there except for Tropical Depression Baryl. It's going to be impacting the Ohio Valley and bringing a lot of heavy rainfall and a few tornadoes to much of Indiana and Kentucky and much of the Northeast on hump day. Take a look at the Pacific, not much there, and Central Pacific, not much there either. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the lower 48 for the next couple weeks, since we know that we got some severe weather due to barreling its way through much of the eastern half of the country for the next couple days. And it's going to be bringing a lot of heavy rainfall and lots of tornadoes with it as well. It's looking like as we get into Thursday, it looks like we could be dealing with even more heavy rainfall amongst the East Coast as well as the Northeast, as a slight risk for excessive rainfall has been issued on Thursday into Friday. And it's looking like we're going to start to dry out amongst much of the country, dealing with some showers over here by Missouri by Friday and some showers amongst the East Coast. And it's looking like as we head into the weekend, it's looking like it could be a pretty good weekend for really much of the country. And once we head out of the weekend, it's looking like the eastern half of the country is going to be coming into a little bit of a soggy pattern, which is actually good for those drought-like conditions. So you can see here on Thursday the 16th, now this is over 200 hours out, keep this in mind, but that's looking like we could be coming in on what's called a golly washer, which is basically a big old soggy mess with some potential severe weather over here by Virginia. Just keep in mind, 200 hours out, this probably won't even happen, by the way. As we take a look at the precipitation outlook for the next 6 to 10 days, we can see much of the country is going to be near normal to above average, except for up here in the northwest from Nevada up into Montana. Next 8 to 14 days, we can see much of the country is going to be above average, except for up here by Montana. Definitely some good news for those drought-like conditions. We're going to take a look at the Atlantic Basin to see if any sort of tropical disturbances are going to be heading our way in the near term. I know next 48 hours, Hurricane Center says nothing about any tropical storms or hurricanes affecting us, which is actually some good news. And it's not looking like anything is going to be happening out there for the next couple of weeks, which is actually some good news. We could use a little bit of a break. And as we take a look at the sea surface temperatures, still pretty toasty out there, even though barreled its way amongst much of the Gulf. Still dealing with some pretty hot sea surface temperatures, which could fuel some hurricanes in the near term. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an upload, because hurricane season is starting to ramp up, y'all. Now, lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at what kind of temperatures we could be coming in on, as it has been pretty hot here as of late. It's looking like it's going to be another hot day today, and it's going to remain that way all the way into the weekend. And it's looking like we could be getting into a little bit of a cool off as we head into Friday, but then it's going to get extremely hot again by Friday evening, and it's looking like we're not going to get a relief from this major heat wave that we've been dealing with here as of late. As we take a look at the next 6 to 10 days, as far as temperatures go, we can see much of the country is going to be above average, which is expected. Next 8 to 14 days, really much of the same story. If you're taking any vacations up there in Alaska, get out there and enjoy it. We're pretty jealous of y'all. Down here in much lower 48s, we're going to be dealing with 100-degree temperatures for quite some time, with above average temperatures expected. So if you enjoyed today's weather forecast, make sure you hit that like and share buttons for more folks on informed about the weather, and make sure you hit that subscribe button with bell notifications turned on so you never miss an upload, because here on Wednesday's Weather, we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. And also leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as feedback helps provide you the viewer better and more informative content in the future. So basically, sum this video up. Basically, Tropical Depression Baryl is going to be on some major problems for the Ohio Valley and the Northeast for the next couple of days. So be aware of nocturnal tornadoes and have a way to get alerted and know where to go. When that tornado warning gets issued for your location, make sure you have those alerts turned all the way up, as it's going to be happening during the nighttime hours, as y'all are going to be most likely sleeping. So again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all y'all for watching. Until next time, never stop forecasting.